Did you turn the camera off?
Lord, we just thank you for this day. We just thank you for this room of participants, Lord. This is enlightening. And Lord, we just thank you for community involvement. We thank you for wisdom and knowledge sitting on this board. And Lord, we just thank you for our first responders and the favor and the protection that you put upon them and all our citizens of Elkhart County. And Lord, we want to thank you just for these opportunities that we get. And we just want it to be pleasing to you. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hear ye, hear ye. The Elkhart County Commissioners are now in session to hear any and all business brought before them. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. We'll call the meeting to the Elkhart County Board of Commissioners to order October 20th, 2025. And we have an agenda revision that we'll announce here. So go ahead.
So I'd like to make a motion to remove the request for Riverbend Development Group LLC and make a motion, or the same motion, to adopt a resolution for withdrawal of the zone map change by the owner.
Make a second.
So essentially what this is doing is the Middlebury apartment complex at Riverbend Development. The applicant has withdrawn the request. And so the commissioners are removing it from the agenda, and that will not be heard today. I suspect.
There's really,
Don't get too excited yet.
and there's really no need for that kind of tension in the meeting, by the way.
So, anyhow, the applicant will probably have a revision, and that'll come back before the Plan Commission and ultimately before the commissioners again another month. So, if after we adopt this, if those who are here for that want to leave, you're welcome to do so, but you're also welcome to stay. So we have a motion and a second to amend the agenda and also adopt the resolution to withdraw the application. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries unanimously. So if you wish to leave now, you're welcome to do so. The approval of minutes from October 13th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries unanimously. Allowance of claims.
Good morning. I have payroll and regular claims that have been reviewed and are ready for your approval and signatures, please.
Motion to approve claims.
Still a meeting, folks.
Take your discussion out in the hallway.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Under business, highway, request approval of the LPA consultant agreement for the replacement of Bridge 143, which is kind of a 3 over Boggle Creek.
Morning, Commissioners. Kyle Wagner, Highway Department. This is an LPA agreement with SJCA Incorporated. This outlines the beginning contract for the replacement of Bridge 143. This is a not to exceed $471,682.
Can you say that one more time? 400 what?
This contract is not to exceed $471,682.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you. Under Commissioners, consideration of independent contractor agreement with Ecopia Tech Corporation.
Morning, Commissioner. Steve Olson, County Attorney. Before us today is an independent contractor agreement. This follows the standard form that we have with standardized terms. This one is for Ecopia Tech Corporation. We will be following this agreement up with an anticipated task order that will be presented to you during the upcoming Stormwater Board. The ICA is ready for your approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you. Letter B, consideration of independent contractor agreement with Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated.
Similar to the last independent contractor agreement, has the standardized terms. This one, we're looking at some bridge work associated with Kimley Horn and Associates, Inc.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Letter C, consideration of task order for Bridge 347 with Lockmuir.
Bridge 347 is one that's just gone through the appropriation process with the county council. This is for replacement of Bridge 347. The task order is with Lockmuir Group Incorporated. This has the scope of work provided by the highway department for this project. The fees on this project have a not to exceed amount of $509,540. And highway is here to answer any questions you have about that.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Letter D, consideration of task order for Bridge 402 with Lockmuir.
Bridge 402, again, is a task order with Lockmuir Group Incorporated. This is for a superstructure replacement for Elkhart County Bridge 402 at Indiana Avenue over Rock Run Creek. This has a fee structure with a not to exceed amount of $473,510. Preliminary plans are 180 days out, with final plans to occur by August 1, 2027, and final bid documents to be 30 days after final plans.
So the final bid will go out August, so no later than August?
180 days after the notice to proceed. So August 1, 2027 for final plans, and then we will have bid out probably September realistically, late August or September 2027.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Letter E, consideration of task order for Bridge 136 with United Consulting.
This task order is with United Consulting Engineers, Inc. I should say for all of these task orders, we obviously have an independent contractor agreement in place, as was just approved for a couple of the others. This is for rehabilitation of Bridge 136. This project has a not to exceed amount of $375,350 and has final tracing and bid documents for a project to be bid in November 2026.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Letter F, consideration of task order for Bridge 232 with United Consulting.
This is also with United Consulting Engineers, Inc. This is replacement of Bridge 232, also governed by a standard independent contractor agreement with a not to exceed amount of $397,050 and has a scheduled performance for project to be bid in November 2026.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Letter G, consideration of a joint resolution with the Elkhart County Council to approve the interlocal agreement funding water and sewer main extension.
So this is a resolution of the Elkhart County Commissioners and the Elkhart County Council to approve the interlocal agreement funding water and sewer main extension. This was brought before County Council for both appropriation and approval on Thursday of last week and was approved. This is a project specifically with the Middlebury Southeast TIF District. The town will be providing a claim for the funding associated with this project in the amount of $400,000. It'll be utilized only for the specified purposes. The town will assume and agree to responsibility associated with the administration of the project. Ultimate ownership of the improvements will be with the town of Middlebury. We do have our Elkhart County limitation of liability for the project built into this. The county's RDC will get to continue to receive 100% of the incremental taxes associated with the TIF out in that area. So that TIF will be able to continue after this project, even if annexation by Middlebury occurs. That was a part of the redevelopment's efforts to ensure that that TIF district could be remaining as a part of this project.
Mary, need to say anything? Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Letter H, consideration of ordinance establishing standard contractual language for county contracts.
As the commissioners know, we've been working for just over a year now on these independent contractor agreements with standardized terms. That has worked very well. At this point in time, we are now taking the next step of adopting an ordinance. Indiana Code authorizes the Elkhart County Board of Commissioners to adopt an ordinance establishing standard contractual language for all contracts entered into Elkhart County. This ordinance is adopted in such a way that contracts include purchases of fixtures associated with real property, tangible and intangible personal property, and services as permitted by the Indiana Code. This has a standard set of contractual terms, which are the same as what we deal with in our standard independent contractor agreement, in addition to the public works additions there too. We will have those standard terms on the Elkhart County Commissioner's website, and they will also be ultimately adopted into the Elkhart County Code. Any contract entered into must include those terms, subject to the exceptions built within this ordinance. Those exceptions include exceptions for making over-the-counter purchases of fixtures associated with real property, tangible or intangible personal property, or services from brick and mortar or online stores that do not require a written contract. So for Elkhart County, when they want to purchase something online or from a brick and mortar store that does not require a contract, it does not require these terms. There are also circumstances where special circumstances may exist that require exceptions to the standard contractual language. A good example of that would be the first contract approved by the commissioners today, which is an NDOT project that requires specialized NDOT terms. In those circumstances, the purchasing agent will present their request to the county administrator, who will review it and be able to provide exception allowing for those contracts to take place. This also confirms that the application of Indiana Code Chapter 36.2.9, which is a state law associated with contract review, is not eliminated by this. We are not trying to supersede state law. We are simply adopting a simplified approach to allow for contracting in Elkhart County, so the county officers can follow that as well if they desire to do so. This will allow us to simplify our independent contractor agreement process moving forward.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Number 3, planning. Request approval of Brian Burkholder and Marcus D. Yoder and Ruby Yoder, husband and wife, represented by B. Dory Associates, for a zone map change from A1 to DPUD A1 for primary approval, the 2-lot minor subdivision known as Premier Finishing. This is a southwest corner of County Road 52 and 11, address of 67470 Fernbrook Road.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jason Oval, Zoning Administrator. This petition received a favorable recommendation from planning staff. The Plan Commission vote was 6 in favor, 2 against, 1 absent. There were some remonstrators present. There were many concerns presented from neighbors, including an increase in traffic, safety concerns for Amish children going to school, the smell of fumes from proposed business, and the noise created by generators running all day from proposed businesses. Just kind of a recap on what DPUDs do. DPUDs are an instrument used by planning primarily to allow for mixed-use developments. So on this property, the proposal is to have a residential use for the business owner, a business, as well as associated ag uses. So it's going to be a mixed-use property. And Blake Dorio from B. Dorio and Associates is here, as well as the property buyer.
Any question for Jason?
Not the time.
Okay. Mr. Dorio?
Morning. Blake Dorio, Dorio and Associates, P.O. Box 465, New Paris, Indiana. Representing the Yoders and Mr. Burkholder, who is the purchaser and operates the business on the property. I will not hesitate to say that this project started out as the site was difficult, but we spent many hours working with the surveyor's office, working with the health department and the planning department, and we have got this to a position where it will work. Initial problem is that we had extra drain tiles. The old county tile had been abandoned and a new tile had been put in. So we've worked with the drainage board to get that all straightened out. Our soil scientist, he found adequate room in this area, well outside of the drainage way for a septic system. And there's also room for an additional septic system. Mr. Burkholder will live here, and his children will be going to the Amish school just south of the property on the far side of the road. So he's very, very aware of the Amish children going to school and the safety, and he's going to make sure that it's done safely because his children will be there. His business is a finishing business. I've been drinking coffee since 5. That will go right there. He'll have 8 employees. Most of the employees will bicycle. Others will have a Amish hauler bring them in. There will be approximately 12 trucks a week. Most of them are box trucks. Occasionally, a person will have a tractor trailer bring materials in. The site is ample for the tractor trailer to get in, turn around, and safely maneuver. We did the TIV, the traffic study, and the highway department, as long as we do the, I believe it's a type 6 entrance, is fine with what we plan. We have adequate sight distance to the north and south. There's questions about the generator. We are planning on putting the generator at the southwest corner of the building. And there are no homes down here. There are homes across here, and over here, but the generator noise should be minimized by the location of the generator. All the ventilation has to be approved by the state. So IDEM will be looking at it. So as far as fumes, we'll meet all the IDEM requirements for the refinishing that they do. Mr. Burkholder is here. You may have some questions that I can't answer about his business. I think we've touched on everything that was questioned at the Plan Commission, and would like to take any questions.
I actually just have one, and it's kind of a for you anyway, and maybe it's more of a May question, but or Jason, I'm sorry. The reason that you went for a DPUD A1 instead of a manufacturing, is that because of the residents on property?
So generally in these applications, that's correct. Because we have a residential component, the agricultural component, and the manufacturing. These type of situations generally lend themselves to DPUDs as compared to a special use for a home workshop business because of scope and scale.
So it's too intense to be a special use.
Yes.
Thank you.
And with that, these are all over the county. I have another one going east of town, and it's just arranging property lines, and it's almost a mirror of this business. So, I'll be back before you in probably 3 or 4 months. But this is kind of standard with the Amish culture, that we have these small businesses throughout the county supplying the RV industry. And with the bicyclists and that, we would really rather, or most places would rather not have the bikes intermingling with the intense traffic in an industrial area.
I got a couple questions. I don't know if you can answer these or not. So you said that all the air permitting is gonna go through IDEM because you can step up here,
Come on up,
your
Brian.
business.
Name and address.
Name Brian Burkholder, address 30312 County Road 50, Napanee, Indiana.
So you've applied for, if this gets approved, you're gonna apply for the air permits, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and then how is your finishing materials come in? Is it on 55-gallon drums?
both. It comes in 1-gallon pails, 5-gallon pails, and then some drums.
Okay,
And
and then what kind of VOC levels are you gonna be generating here?
that I don't know offhand.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then are you gonna have spill containment to protect the property?
So it will have to go through state, and they're gonna look at everything, and then we have like a special room where we store the materials in, like a fireproof with firewalls and stuff like that. And I would think that they're gonna require some sort of spill containment. But that I'm not 100% sure on that. I've got an architect working on that for me.
So what if IDEM doesn't approve the permit?
Well, then I think there's because of, people are doing it. Like it's not a new thing.
Right,
So yeah.
They're doing
I-
the same mixed use property or the same type of manufacturing on the property.
They're doing mixed use all over.
Right.
The one I will bring you will be a mixed use.
Right,
Yeah.
but I'm talking, so I'm going back to the VO.
VOC.
Yeah, could you help me?
that's volatile organic chemicals. That's the vapors that comes off
So
so
it's like
my other question is, are you using a water-based system?
primarily no. There's
Okay.
both water-based and a lacquer base.
Right, and then when you spray your finish on your wood, now is that gonna go through a UV treatment
It-
to
it's
dry, or is it just air dry?
It's air dried. So we have special drying rooms to where we use it's got a green fast cure is what they call it. It's like a UV, but
Mhm.
it's not considered a UV product.
Yeah, I
You
gotcha.
can't stack it right away. But it is considered air dried, but it's like assisted with the UV drying.
Right. And then I seen in their packet that you're gonna have a stormwater protection plan to protect all the
Yes.
groundwater around you.
Yes.
Okay.
And the state requires, I mean, they're asking for that as well.
And then how many hours will your generator be running?
So we normally start at 5 in the morning and then we try to shut off around 1ish.
Okay.
And as far as the noise, there is, if it does bother the neighbors, and we talked to them about this, is there is an application where we can do like an exterior radiator to where the generator noise comes from the fan to cool it. And there's like a separate addition you can put on a generator where it really limits the noise to just a slight hum. You won't hear it at all if it is an issue.
But you're willing to make the appropriate changes
I am.
if whatever is needed for the noise.
I am. Yes.
Okay.
So I'm kind of stuck on the odors because I just don't understand, and I've received some public comment ahead of time, and I know that
Okay.
you're both up here now. So um, the VOC levels, varnish, people are worried about the odor, and where you're locating the facility is near their homes. So can you talk a little bit more about what the anticipation is there and what you plan to do about that?
So, I mean, IDEM obviously requires a certain filtration system, but that, it'll grab the overspray, but we have an exhaust fan and that'll eliminate the fumes out of the booth, obviously. And when I talked to them earlier before we got started, I said if there's a straight south wind and if it like the moisture, if it's humid, it makes it a little bit worse. But I said you might get a whiff of it every now and then. I can't guarantee that you won't smell it, but I don't think it'll be overwhelming at all.
And IDEM's policies and procedures are as much for your employees to have a safe work environment
Right.
as well as
As
everyone
the
else.
environment outside, yeah.
And as far as the noise level on the generator, what we put in here as far as conditions is what is stuck with the DPUD. What kind of guarantee do we have that if we don't put in a condition to make that the exterior generator lowering the noise level that you'll do that?
I guess then you could send code enforcement out.
Yeah.
Well, no, because there is no, if I don't make it happen today,
Okay.
then it's not in the code. So I'm saying because I don't see the need to be more strict
Mhm.
if there's no problem.
Right.
And based on where you're putting things, what you said, or what I heard you say, is that if the neighbors complain, you will self-inflict more strictness.
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're basically it's how do I get that on paper?
Do I need to put it on paper or?
Well, I guess that's up to you and the neighbors. If you don't feel for me, a handshake agreement is okay. But if the neighbors or if you want something else, I'm willing to sign a petition or whatever that states that I'd be willing to do that if there is an issue.
And Susie, I'm sorry, Commissioner Wyatt, I'll be more than happy to drive you out there and then we'll talk to him very sternly, remind him of his promise. And then we can always go to his bishop.
Okay.
So there are other ways. So.
All right. Thank you, Blake. Sorry.
So how often, in your current location, are you using a generator?
Every day, that's our power source. Or 5 days a week, Monday through Friday.
So you're already using that generator from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Right.
At another location.
At another location, not here.
Okay, and where is that location?
It's on County Road 101, 72842, County Road 101.
So you're relocating from that?
We don't own that building. We're just renting
I
the
see.
building and we majorly outgrew it. We need to do something as far as space is what brought this all.
And part of the reason this area is chosen, his father lives, it's your father, not father-in-law, right?
Father.
Father would be just west, it would be right there, that parcel. And so,
He builds a lot of parts for me. And it's,
Any other questions for?
I have no one.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, we'll open up for a public hearing. So anybody who wants to speak either in favor or against, step on up, and we'll need your name and address for the record, please. And then you can speak your piece.
My name is Shirley Blosser. I live at 71491 County Road 11, Napanee. My address is County Road 11. I live on the corner of 52 and 11. So this factory is going to be directly across from our driveway. My husband has lived there in his entire life. I've lived there 60 years. We've been married for 60 years. My concerns, I'm against this, and my concerns are what some that have already been stated. I'm highly asthmatic, and fumes are really concerning to me. I spend a lot of time outside, but also it doesn't block my view of anything. At the other meeting, somebody said it blocked my view. I would have to be in my bedroom 24 hours a day to block my view. Has nothing to do with my view. It's all about a standalone. It's going to be a standalone factory. There's no house or barn there now. And the way Brian talked about it before, it won't have a house and a barn for a long time. At least 5 years is what he told me. The other thing is we do have the Amish school. When the Amish were going to put a school on the corner where that factory wants to go, my husband went to the bishop and talked to him because his brother had been killed on County Road 11. And he didn't want the school children directly across from us. And so the bishop, you can see this is really personal. The bishop agreed, and they put the school back where the kids would be off the road. Thank God. Then on the other corner of County Road 11 at Union Center Church is a daycare, and there's 50 kids there. So we have traffic going up and down that road all hours of the day to drop kids off, pick kids up. The traffic on that road, if you would talk to anyone on that road, would tell you that it is horrendous. There's an incline right at our part of our farm that when you come up, I've had horses fly through the air. I've had people in trees and airbags, and you cannot see down County Road 11 where he wants to put the entrance into the factory. See what. I want you to know that this has nothing to do with being Amish community. The people across the road have their freezer in my barn. They have a business, store down the road. I frequent it. Most of those people have been friends of our family for a long time. But this is a concern as far as what's going in there, the fumes, and it's going to be closer to our house than anybody else. But that's my concerns.
Thank you. So some of you put privilege of the floor, or you signed privilege of the floor documents that, but you put on here that you wanted to speak during the Burkholder approval or application. So next is Max Schmucker. Is Max here? Max, come on up. State your name.
Five.
Thank you.
I'm Mac Schmucker, 71270, County Road 11, Napanee. I'm a quarter mile north of the corner. Me and Shirley Blosser got petitions against this thing. We've got 69 names against it. It includes all kinds of people, some Amish, you name it. Do you want to see the names or anything?
Well, if you have the petition, you can bring it forward and we can take a look at it. Thank you. So what's your issue here? with it?
Okay. First thing is, my issue is something this magnitude belongs in the industrial park in towns, not out in the country. There's no respect for the neighbors that live right there. Property values will go down on that corner because of this. And she talked about the fumes, and down the road, a couple miles, there's the same thing. They got all kinds of filters. You smell the fumes. The other year in the corn, there's some damage in the corn because of the fumes going downwind. And you can drive and smell them just on the road. These factories in the country have a problem of burning stuff. A lot of times it gets black, they burn at night. Now they're trash that they won't go pick up on the neighbors. The hours of operation and that, nobody enforces anything. And the county guy told me he's got it set for up to 17 employees. There's no retention pond on the maps, and Schweitzer said that there needs to be. And the other year when something was built close to us, they didn't do a retention pond. Me and the neighbors had to spend a couple $1,000s to bring a big tile up where it dumped on me for a catch basin to catch this water to keep from eroding land. And the traffic is terrible. And it's a bad corner. And if this goes through, I demand a 4-way stop because there's wrecks there all the time. They end up in Shirley and Keith's yard and you name it. And of course, you got the generator noise and the dust collector noise, which the dust collector hasn't even been talked about yet, and they all make a lot of noise. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Deb Schmucker.
I'm Deb Schmucker. I live at 71270 County Road 11. I'm reading a letter from a property owner, Brian Sheets. Property on southwest corner of 11 and County Road 52. I own land on the east side of County Road 11 across from the property mentioned about rezoning from Ag 1 to manufacturing. I am against rezoning this for many reasons. Ag 1 is permissible for and dwelling and probably a barn or a pole shed. I don't like to see that taking up farmland either, but we are talking about rezoning this for manufacturing of a business of woodworking and finishing. Odors in the air are a big concern by many neighbors living next to this said property. Some have asthma problems now, and why allow a business to be built on ag land causing problems for homeowners who are already settled there for many years, wanting the fresh county air? There is another wood finishing business on south, 2.5 miles on County Road 11. Fumes are terrible there, so don't tell me that there won't be any fumes. Generator noise and dust collecting noise, who wants to be bothered by that? I've seen it before, and this won't be any different. The high wind will come and blow papers, plastic, cardboard out of said property across the road and many farm property, and I have to pick it up, all because for some unknown reason, they think it is my problem to clean it up. I can see this rezoning thing for manufacturing snowballing in the future. One guy gets started and then there will be more following. So I say don't even get started now. Buildings like this belong in the industrial parks. Brian Sheets.
Anybody else to speak in favor or against?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is closed.
I have a question, and maybe this is something that I see on here that,
Yeah, so come back up.
Mr. Dorio, sorry, that you could, address, especially on the retention areas. And someone brought up the number of employees, he mentioned 12 trucks weekly. So there's some different information floating around there, but the retention areas, if you could address that, please.
We have no retention in this. It went through the surveyor's office. If the board so requires a retention area, we will comply. So as far as employees, Brian employs 8 people. So that's what he's told me. And may I say a couple other things that were brought up?
Of course.
Yeah. No.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Um,
your cell phones, please.
as far as the traffic, we submitted it to the highway department. The ADT on 11 between 54 and 52 is 1,020. The peak traffic in an hour, is 69 in the morning and 98 in the evening. On 52, the ADT is 273. That's
You want to say
That's-
what ADT means for those in the audience?
average daily traffic count. And the other direction on 52, no, is about the same. So we're looking at about 1,000 vehicles a day on 11. And less than that, between 500 and 1,000 on 52. Most of the county highways entered standard until 3,000. So the traffic is not that intense. And as far as dust, Mr. Burkholder has no process in his finishing place that requires a dust collector. And also, if the board so wishes, we'd be willing to put some trees to the west of the building to act as a sound barrier. I know it'll take a few years, but we're willing to do things to mitigate north of the building. So, you have anything to say?
As far as Jason, also was brought up, trash collection, and I think there's some general requirements for trash that they could then call enforcement on if it's not picked up. Is that correct?
Generally, the big things like appliances, those things are fit within our code enforcement, but litter, packages, cardboard, that generally kind of falls outside the scope of planning.
So we used to, if I'm remembering correctly, when there was a lot of activity in Elkhart County because the economy was booming, there were enforcement officers sent out somewhere, and I can't remember which kind of officers, the real kind or the ordinance kind, regarding trash pickup and plaster, not plaster, plastic, cardboard and stuff was blowing all over. Is that not anything that we?
So I do recall that. Generally, that was a bunch of waste along county roads, county right of way. And so that's kind of, again, outside the scope of a planning jurisdiction.
Maybe it was highway that had that issue. Okay, thank you. Gentlemen, regarding the retention pond, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it went through planning and zoning without it, so.
Well, the surveyor's office said it didn't need it, but yet someone testified that somebody from the surveyor's office, they said they needed it. So I don't know what to say that.
Where would you put any retention? I mean, you'd have to just on the buffer.
We would probably put the retention on the south end of the
Is the pitch the right way to go that way?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it goes that way. We'll probably extend it into the A zone portion, which would be, I mean, right there is where I am thinking we would probably do it. Probably just be a swale with a small tile drain down. So it drains down over a day or two. And to catch the water from this industrial area, I don't see a reason for retention for the house and that. It all drains straight down to there, and we have a county drain that will keep the water down.
I think the house is all right.
So just out of curiosity, why didn't you bring that all the way down next to the other property? Is it because of that?
It's because of the county regulated drain coming through there.
Okay.
We have to maintain that setback, and then if we move it down, then
I
we
can't
have,
see where you're pointing.
okay. Can you see that right there?
I see a reflection up here. I'm sorry.
It's not showing on the.
Oh, it shows on for me. May I?
Yes, please. Because I think you're talking about this is the drain, these are the drainage tiles here. Yeah?
This is the county regulated drain right there.
Okay,
This is the county's right of way, right there,
okay.
okay?
So you have to
So-
stay in this area.
So we have to stay above it, and if we move south, then we're in a triangular portion, and it's not worth, you can't build in it.
And you're talking about adding the retention there if
Adding
you
the
did.
retention area to the south side of that property, it will most likely be in the lot 2.
I'm sorry, I got my questions answered. Did you have?
Well, I have concerns about the fumes and has to go through IDEM. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the fumes will be non-existent. So I struggle with the property rights, but then also the property rights of others when you impinge upon their rights. Which is consistent with other things that we'll be talking about today. But I think and I'm a little concerned about the generator noise as well. And it's like, why not mitigate that right out of the chute if you're going to do it? It's just
If you
like,
want us to, tell us to.
So I'm struggling with this one as well from with the fumes standpoint, as far as being consistent with the neighborhood. And this has been done. I understand why it's not an M1 zone. I understand why it's not in a manufacturing zone. I'm inclined to approve this request with a buffer added on the north side. And I don't know if you want the noise generation protection there as well.
Can I have him come back up?
You're the boss. I'm,
Yeah. So my question to you is, how many gallons of finish are you gonna be spraying every day? Just an average. What's the average day at your current shop?
So we normally fill up the 5 gallon pails out of the bigger drum, obviously, or when it comes in a 5, it's just. So there's there's stain, sealer, top coat, obviously 3 different
Okay.
steps. I would say maybe we don't stain every day. A lot of it's paint, so that's eliminates the stain. Shooting from the hip, 15, 20 gallons.
Okay, now do you atomize it through an air gun or do you
That's
use a
atomized.
HVLP?
It's-
That's a
well,
high
it's
volume, low pressure guns.
HVLP.
Okay, you're talking in tongues.
So HVLP is high volume, low pressure. And I got a background in this stuff, so that's why I'm asking all these technical questions to you.
Okay.
So what I'm wanting to know, because I know how fumes carry,
Mm-hmm.
okay? I know how when you filter the fumes, you're pulling the solids out, but the smell is still in the air,
Right.
correct?
We have an exhaust, a stack, like an elbow that goes up above, and takes it up away from the ground,
Okay.
per se. So that'll definitely help. But like you said, you were right. It's the filters is designed to grab all the solids, but there will be fumes, some fumes that will go out in the air.
Okay.
Above the roof line.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So the difference between the atomization and the difference between the atomization and the low pressure, is one put more volatiles out than the other?
That you'll have more, if you use like when they spray cars or paint, they got the little quart on the spray gun, they're using air pressure to put that out. Those are generally the HVLP systems, they pour that in a pot and it uses some hydraulic or some air pressure, but it uses more high. Just, there's a bladder in there and that uses the push, so it's pushing the paint and not the air.
Creates less overspray.
Right.
Okay.
So like when you're painting, you get that cloud, when you're spraying
My
something.
wife won't let me paint.
Yeah,
So
no, I just know, that's why I'm asking. And if you use a HVLP system, there's gonna be less atomization of the vapors versus the air system, the compressed air system.
thank you.
So.
So the issue for me is really the odor, and it's inconsistent with, so these same people would probably be up here fussing about if you put a hog barn there
Mhm.
and the hog barn had odor, but that's fresh country air, So that's a little bit different than fumes. And so I don't know. I think this is a manufacturing use in a low density agricultural and residential area on a county road, and then I have concerns about that.
So,
I'm not sure how to solve it, so.
well, I'll make a motion to approve and then we can go from there to see how that happens. I'll make a motion to approve with the condition of a buffer on the north side of the property with do you want me to add the motion for the noise, the exterior, what did you call it? The exterior generator,
Radiator.
exterior radiator? And I'm fine with those two conditions unless you want me to add a third one, Bob. And we can deny it or not, but if you want any condition in there besides those two.
So we have a motion to approve with those restrictions. Do we have a second?
Conditions.
Conditions, sorry. Do we have a second?
Hang on a minute. So if there's complaints about VOs, the smells, not nuisance complaints, but real complaints
Like from the neighbors or from like IDEM or who?
from the neighbors.
Okay. Like, are you asking me what I could do to help
Yeah,
that?
yeah, because when IDEM gets involved with air permitting, they're gonna give you a range of systems to put in.
Mhm.
And I think you can do this. I think you can do this with minimal odor if you investigate it.
Okay. Maybe like some type of carbon filter, maybe.
Maybe.
So I'll just tell you, I used to live there where we're finishing now. And the shops, in front of the house, maybe 150 feet, not even 100 feet, maybe. And we lived there, and my wife and we never uh, thought about the smell at all. Like
Okay.
and that was, to our south. There are buildings stacked around. It wasn't like wide open, but and I've never had a complaint. We were to the north, sorry, and the neighbors to the south, they're very close. They never complain about it either. So I don't feel like it's going to be a big deal, but I can't guarantee it because then if it is,
Right.
I don't want to promise something that I can't guarantee. If that
All right,
makes
well,
sense.
that's fair enough. So I'll second the motion to approve
With just those conditions.
with those conditions.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second with the conditions noted. Let's do a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Barnes,
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers,
No,
Commissioner Wyrick,
Yes.
and it passes 2-1.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
I will be watching.
We'll go to the bishop if we need to, it sounds like.
Just will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you. On to the next. Of course, letter B was pulled, so let's go on to letter C. Request approval of Cesar Manuel Valdez for a zone map change from A1 to B2, east side of US 33, north of County Road 40. Common address is 65764 US 33.
Good morning, Danielle Richards, Elkhart County Planning Department. Yes, this rezoning is coming to you with a favorable recommendation from both staff and the Plan Commission. Just kind of what the property has around it. We have a few RV storage lots. The city of Goshen to the west, east, south, and west all have a little bit of DPUDs or other smaller business along with the residential. And with the B2 zoning, it is a little less intensive. And it is what we see as a transitional zoning between other businesses and the residential area.
Sorry, we're trying to catch up. There's a little bit of paperwork today.
It's okay.
So you're moving to a less intense use, is that what you're saying?
No,
No, you're more intense from A1 to B2.
correct. But it is more of a transitional between the higher intense use to the south
That's what I
with
think.
the north being residential. So it fits in the mixed use area that it's in.
Any questions for her? Okay. Is the owner here or the developer? Come on up, state your name and address and what you'd like to do here.
Julio Cesar Valdez. My address is 17575 Venwood Drive. My son is the owner. Pro manager on our business right now. And what we're trying to do is expand the business. We already own our lot. We are renting, and we wanna have that rent money towards a land of our own. And I mean, we saw the opportunity. The land it was presented to us, and we just want to see if we can do something for our own and the community as well.
So on the property, it looks like you're removing some storage sheds, but adding, no, you're adding a parking lot. You're keeping the residents.
We're trying to keep the residents. If the company that we are hiring to do the remodeling, if they think that it's something that is not belong to the for most of office, we're willing to remove it. The parking lot is the more major, I would say, thing that we have to do, because it's gonna hold at least 30 to 35 vehicles to be show, plus customer coming in and out. We are working with INDOT on that project, and architecture company would do.
So just so you know, what is proposed here is what you have to keep. I don't know if you can remove a building that's on this plan, but you can't add a building if it's not on this plan.
No.
I'll
Sorry.
clarify. This is not a DPUD.
Oh,
This is
this
a
is not?
straight rezoning. So if this gets
Thank you.
approved, anything with B2 is allowed.
Thank you.
So yeah, it doesn't
So
have
we're
to
not
stay.
stuck to it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So you're gonna have an office type building,
yes.
and then a parking lot.
Yeah, what the residential is right now, where the house is right now, is gonna be remodeled to office.
Thank you for clarifying.
Removing this right here. Is that what this is?
Which paper are you on?
On this one.
So
Yes.
so you look, so no, that's outside of the
That's
property.
outside the property.
So this pic view here,
Mhm.
it looks like a junkyard. So can you,
It's not, it's, everything is clear now.
I wondered, okay.
Yeah,
So,
everything
and
is
so
clear.
you own the property now or your son
Yes,
does?
for the
Okay.
last
It's
3
been
months.
cleaned up?
Before we purchased, I was clear.
There's one shed back there. I don't know if you can find
Yeah, I
it.
see it now.
All right.
Any other questions for the gentleman? Okay, thank you. We'll open up for a public hearing. Is there anybody here to speak in favor or against?
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is closed.
Motion to approve the request to rezone to B2.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That carries unanimously and it's been approved. Thank you. Next is letter D, request approval of Fernbrook LLC represented
I'm
by,
sorry. Can I have a 2-minute potty break?
we'll take a 5-minute break and come back.
You can do that. Do that too.
Back on. Okay. Continue with letter D. Request approval of Fernbrook LLC represented by DVG Team Incorporated for zone map change from GPUD B3 to DPUD B3 and for primary approval of one lot minor subdivision known as NIPSCO New Paris Local Operations Center, northwest corner of Fernbrook Road and County Road 14, west of State Road 15. This makes sense. Okay. This is in Jackson Township.
Good morning, Commissioners. Again, Jason Alvel, Zoning Administrator. This petition came to you with no recommendation from the Plan Commission, and the vote for that no recommendation was 7 in favor, 1 was against, and 1 was absent. There was a remonstrator present. The development issues, there was many concerns presented by the adjacent neighbor, including the negative impact on property value as well as resale value and potential increases in noise and light pollution. So this petition is for NIPSCO to put a service center on this property. This would be a regional service center for NIPSCO, which fits within their confines of their response time that they are supposed to meet in the area. And so this is what their proposal is. I have Jack Hall from the representative of NIPSCO, as well as some NIPSCO representatives are here. If you have any other questions.
I'm sorry. This is, you read seven in favor and 1 against, is what you said?
So what the vote for the Plan Commission was to provide no recommendation.
Oh, not on the motion.
There was no recommendation, so not for or against. It
Thank
was
you.
no recommendation.
Thank you.
And that was the vote, was 7 in favor of that, 1 was against, and then there was 1 absent.
Okay, thank you. Now I understand what we're saying.
I'm kind of confused on no recommendation. What's that mean?
It means the board couldn't agree.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tanya Stanley with NIPSCO, 801 East 86th Avenue in Maryville. Jack Halls is with me today. I'm just going to cover a little bit overview of what we're asking to do at this location, and then he can go into some more details for you, and we can answer questions together as you have them. So this will be an operations center for NIPSCO. So this would be very similar use to your County Highway Department Operations Center. We'll have a main building consisting of office space and a warehouse. This site will also have a fleet maintenance garage and 2 company vehicle garages to provide cover for a few of our electric and gas vehicles so that they are ready to respond in an emergency during inclement weather. There will also be outside material storage like electric poles and gas pipes, for example, and our company puts safety first. So we will have pull-through parking and one-way traffic flows at this location to avoid backupping. The site is not intended for any generation or a substation. It's strictly an operations center. So why is NIPSCO looking to relocate? We're currently landlocked in the Goshen site, and it's dated and inefficient from our workflow perspective. So our site selection area was larger than Elkhart County, but the New Paris Conservancy District is in proximity to the large surface area in the middle and north parts of Elkhart County. We were looking for a site that was zoned for our intended use, which was found in New Paris location. So benefits to this project. This project will bring approximately 150 employees to New Paris. We are bringing value to the local community and businesses that see our County Road 142 improvements as the master plan for business development occurs along SR 15. Property values of adjacent properties, local business activity would increase. This project provides practical use supporting your county and surrounding counties. Increased tax base to the county. NIPSCO is not requesting any tax benefits from the county. Relocating out of Goshen, according to a conversation with the city of Goshen, will allow for future development on our current 20-acre site there. So if there's any questions for me on the overview, I'll have Jack cover some more details about the project from the zoning.
Not now, thank you.
Okay.
So it's Tanya, Jack Halls from DVG, representing NIPSCO on this. My address is 1155 Trout Line in Crown Point, Indiana. One of the key factors of site selection was zoning, and this property is currently zoned GPUD B3. And in your zoning ordinance, utilities major is a permitted use in that zone. And so NIPSCO falls into that. So we engaged the county and we engaged NDOT. One of the major concerns on this site is related to access. And so in our conversations with NDOT, we learned that they really do not want to have access on State Road 15. The speed limits are pretty high there, 55 miles an hour, I believe. And one of the key things that they indicated to us was that in 2027, they intend to install a signal at the County Road 142 and State Road 15, which is on the far south side, which would be to your right on this site plan. And that really changes the dynamics of this site for us because we'll have ingress and egress. It kind of drove how we designed the site. We have an employee entrance off of Fernbrook Drive, and then we have separate vehicle access onto County Road 142 on the far west side. That's where the utility vehicles will be coming and going. So an employee will enter the site, park in the front parking lot of the main building, and go into either their gas or electric side, get in their work vehicles. There's either a clockwise or a counterclockwise traffic flow through the site. So we're trying to keep people safe. They'll be loaded up for the day and then head out and serve the public. We engaged the county planning office into the first quarter of 2025 and submitted the application for a zone change to DUPD B3, which is essentially taking that general plan of zoning to a detailed submittal, which has included building locations, sizes, access, drainage, utility service connections, and the like. The UDO states that this classification allows for flexibility in exchange for increased public or private amenities. Our submittal package included the required DPUD report, and in section 4 of that document, we outlined the areas we asked for consideration. The first was related to fencing. The UDO addresses fencing as a buffer screening material. This site includes or requires actually a 6-foot security fence that has visible sight lines for Homeland Security. And so the UDO references a fence as part of the buffer, and we requested that not be the case in this, and we would provide additional screening to make up for that. And so we have done that. We also asked for relief on the far south side, so that'd be along County Road 142. You can see that we have a large detention pond there, which and that's a dry basin. So that provides a large screening area. It's about 300 feet off of County Road 142 before there's a berm, and then you would see the site. So we asked for relief on some of the buffering requirements along that area. And then we had some requests regarding building heights, but did not do anything regarding buffer yard reductions, excessive lot coverage, exemptions for required parking, and none of those kinds of things. During the technical review process, we addressed the concerns of various county departments, including the highway department. We did a traffic study to determine the traffic impact on County Road 142 in that intersection. It's not required by the traffic study to make full improvements to County Road 142, but we are doing that because of what the county would like to see on that road. So there'll be a dedicated left and a dedicated right turn at both of those access points. We've also worked with the New Paris Conservancy District up on the far northeast corner of the site. There is a lift station there that needs to be upgraded. It was on their maintenance schedule for an upgrade. We're going to be doing that upgrade for them as part of this project, and they will be left with a modern 3-phase lift station that will be able to serve this site, but also parcels to the west and to the north. However, I believe the Conservancy District has in their service area the property immediately to the west as zoned as R, and I believe that's zoned R1 and so this lift station is set up for that. The Technical Review Committee and staff made a favorable recommendation to the Plan Commission regarding this petition, demonstrating that NIPSCO had prepared a plan that meets all of the requirements of the zoning ordinance. The Plan Commission, as you know, made a neutral recommendation to you. And there were some concerns about that we would be having an adverse impact on our neighbor. So I'd like to address that matter a little bit more directly. The adjoining property is currently surrounded by DPUD B3, so that'd be on the across the road, and this property, which is zoned GPUD B3. The parcel is currently zoned is used, both residentially and commercially. It is zoned ag. The landowner resides at the property and operates a home workshop as defined in the Elkhart County Code. And recently, this 2019, he's been in front of you for various plan updates to that business operation there. And it was early on in the process that we were suggested by the planning department that we needed to engage our adjacent property owners, and we did do that. And those conversations initially started out really great. We had conversations that I'm not going to stand in the way of progress. We thought that the predominant matter regarding the conversations was screening, and so we shared very detailed plans and engaged him in what types of screening he would like to see. We've actually landed on a 12-foot tall berm between on the west side, so it's that kind of big green blob in the middle of the property, with plantings on top of that. So the zoning code states that that should be 6 foot, so we're significantly higher than that. On the south side, there is a number of trees already existing on his property. We're doing the 6-foot berm on that side with plantings in there, and then you can also see there's also an area of future development for parking that's part of the DPUD, but the current build will not be building that first or that area of parking. So that's about another 300 feet, 200 feet away from the property line there. And then on the north side, we're a little bit tighter over there because of the number of buildings that we have there. We're going to be putting an 8-foot tall opaque fence that will be on top of a 2-foot tall berm. So the actual screening height would be 10 foot for that. The ordinance requires a 6-foot screening, and then we'll also be putting landscaping in front of that, so you're not just looking at a stark white fence. So the conversations turned to we should, entertain purchasing that property. We weren't able to get to a number that we could both agree on, and so NIPSCO continued to move forward with this petition. One of the important things to consider in this is that NIPSCO is governed by the IURC, and that any of the funds that are paid for this need to be passed on to the ratepayers. And so we have to be very mindful of the costs for this project. And so, so we've continued with a petition, and that's in front of you, and would like your consideration on it. And so I want to go back to your UDO. The UDO states that the purpose of the UDO is to protect the rights of property owners. And this includes protection of conflicting land uses, activities on neighboring properties, and provides a reasonable balance between property owners' freedom to utilize their land and the general public's interest in preservation of important natural features, vegetation, protection of views, and living in an attractive and prosperous community. Furthermore, in section 158.06 buffering, the UDO states that buffering and screening is required to mitigate the negative effects of noise, glare on the public right-of-way and neighboring properties, and to conserve and stabilize neighboring property values. The county has anticipated the concerns that have arisen and have made an accommodation in their zoning ordinance through buffering to address those. Plan in front of you exceeds the county requirements for screening within a B3 zone and a residential zone. We are proposing, as I mentioned, a 12-foot tall berm and a 6-foot tall berm with landscape plantings and that opaque fence. Regarding property values, with the B2 zone across the street and the B3 zone of this parcel, it's highly likely that in the future this property will be changed from our ag zoning to a B zoning. The State Road 15, the commercial development elsewhere, the master plan for the county all suggest that this is going to be zoned, will become zoned commercial. A 4.8-acre commercial property of land zoned as such on State Road 15 is not adversely affected or impacted in any way by NIPSCO being a neighbor. In fact, it actually might invite more opportunities as a result. And then finally, as a way of by talking about property rights, Fernbrook LLC was also a co-petitioner on this petition. They're the current landowners of this property. This property has been zoned B3 for several years. They invested a significant amount of money and time and effort with the county to obtain that zoning classification. It meets the county's master plan, and they're working with NIPSCO to bring a close to a plan that was set in motion several years ago. Rejection of this application will cause this parcel to become onerous for commercial development, and that would run counter to all of the efforts that the county has been planning on this corridor. And as a result, will have an adverse effect on the current property owner. In closing, I want to just say thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening to my long-winded and maybe a little bit disorganized thoughts here. But NIPSCO wants to serve the public well. The approval of this project will allow NIPSCO to invest into a community that it serves with a modern, efficient work site so that they can respond to the utility needs of the community. This project will bring tangible benefits, as Tanya outlined, to the community. And we look forward to answering any questions you might have and hearing from the public on the matter.
Any questions for Jack?
No, not at this
Okay,
time.
thank you, Jack. Anything else you need to present? Okay. We'll go ahead and open up for a public hearing. Anybody here to speak in favor or against? You state your name and address, please.
Brad Hooley, 14385 County Road 22, Goshen. I represent Fernbrook. I'm the broker who sold this property. Yeah, that's what I'd like on the screen. Give you a little background on Fernbrook. Fernbrook is the last asset that is conjoined by the three original Brookins family brothers. There was Ron, Richard, and Doug. And Ron and Doug have both passed away. The Brookins family is a very well-known family in New Paris. They've been farming down there for years. When this B3 zoning petition was approved in March of 2004 in the public, and it was approved unanimously, by the way. Public comments at that time from the neighbors said the Brookins family is the best farming neighbor you could ever hope for. They still have assets in the area, and so they have just as much concern about property value as anybody does. In fact, their asset base is probably substantially greater than any of the adjoining neighbors. This asset, it needs to be sold. The three brothers' families are still conjoined. At some point, it's going to be sold. It currently has the B3 zoning. In marketing this property, we talked about a number of different things. They could put a road right through from 42 up to 121 and sold off 5-acre B3 lots. And then you wouldn't have a singular, very well-designed site plan. What you'd have is you'd have a guy wanting to do final coating on wood spray or a weld shop. We had RV dealers, we had high density residential with the sewer that's available there, a back zone to open the door for us to put somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 150 homes in there. The Brookins has been choosy about who their buyer is. They're New Paris based. They wanted a good neighbor that was going to provide positive benefit to the community. We think we have kind of found that. NIPSCO would be a good neighbor. They have a great site plan. This business about property values, I don't disagree with some of the comments, but State Road 15 is there. Immediately to the right of that little green area is the Marion Line Railroad. North of that's an intersection, south of that's an intersection. That means every time a train goes through there, it doesn't blow its whistle once. It blows its whistle twice. Now that railroad's not going to go away. State Road 15 is not going to go away. The B3 zoning is going to lay there, and we're either going to utilize it in a good way, or something else is going to happen, which could be to drop back to a residential or an ag use, which if we were to drop it down to an ag, we wouldn't even have to be here. And the Brookins could put bird barns across there. And to my calculation, about 8 or 9 of them would fit in there. I don't know how much you know, but back in 2004, Northern Indiana was not the poultry capital of the United States that it is today. So you can have this site plan, or you can have 250,000 chickens. It's kind of a no-brainer to me. I think that this is going to, if anything, stabilize the value of that with the screening, the buffer, and the protection. And I agree with what Jack said about there is potential opportunity for enhanced value to occur as opposed to the other talk. I realize the future is always a little spooky, but I think this project, it's good for New Paris. It keeps the jobs here rather than other places. It enhances NIPSCO's response time. When they need to go east, they can go north, go over the bridge. If they need to go west, they could take 142 and get on 17. So it's a positive benefit for anybody in the county that depends on NIPSCO or wants a faster emergency service. The Brookins family, members are here. If you have any direct questions for them, they would be happy to, I would be happy to respond to any comments.
Any questions for Mr. Hooley?
I don't have any at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else to speak in favor or against?
My name is Dennis Chubb. My family and I live at 67267 State Road 15, New Paris. This is something of grave concern to us. Our biggest concern with NIPSCO engulfing our business and our home on 3 sites, we're kind of landlocked there in the middle, is that my property value will drop significantly. The decrement and depreciation of my property by being next to a giant industrial complex would be profound. it seems our property would be completely out of place and overwhelmed by this immense project. They're talking about putting lights in. They did say the lights point down, but I assume the lights will be on very tall poles, and I don't know how we can avoid light pollution. I am concerned about noise pollution. There seems to be a reluctance to put much of a berm on the north side. There's going to be a building there that was on the one map marked in yellow called the Electric Groups Garage. On the north side, there is just not room for a berm. Yeah, there it is. Between our property and the road. That is a big concern of ours. If they put berms in, they would have to be irrigated, they would have to be maintained, they'd have to be large enough to mow, or they're just going to be dirt piles with dead vegetation. Future plans according to their DPUD project plan, includes the possibility of a 50,000 square foot installment of solar panels, wind and other emerging technologies would be, it's listed on page 6 of their plan. And it says that might include solar up to 50,000 square feet, ground or building mounted. Wind or other emerging technologies may be tested on site for demonstration purposes. Battery storage systems may be included. NIPSCO uses secure communication systems, including towers. Due to proximity to the airport, tower height would be limited and subject to approval. Up to 5 towers may be installed. I don't know where the room is going to come from for those future projects. If they had my property, maybe they could do that. One of my big issues is that NIPSCO's current properties are very unsightly. What guarantee do we have that they'll be maintained any different than they are now? The current property on Kircher Road in Goshen, in my estimation, looks like a salvage yard. I've lived in the community for most of my life. NIPSCO has never had any motivation to upkeep that property. I have trouble believing they'll maintain a pristine property. I'm concerned that in a short time they will look like the current properties, of which I have photos of that I would like to submit. I can do
Bring
that.
it forward.
NIPSCO said their budget does not allow them to buy us out. We had conversations and said we would reluctantly be willing to move if it made financial sense. I'm not part of that company, but in June of 2023, NiSource, the parent company of NIPSCO, agreed to sell a 19.9% non-controlling equity stake in its subsidiary, NIPSCO, to an affiliate, Blackstone Infrastructure Partners. The transaction was $2.15 billion. It was completed in January 2 of 24. As part of the deal, Blackstone also made an additional $250 million equity commitment to fund NIPSCO's ongoing requirements. In the recent years, year over year, there have been some increases, 24 to 25, 2024 to 2025. NIPSCO's average residential bills jumped 26.7% for the 12-month period ending in July 2025, which was the highest in Indiana. Concerning our property value, which we spoke about with them, I need to point out that assessed value for taxes is quite different than actual value. We told NIPSCO we'd be willing to relocate if they purchased our property for enough money to allow me to rebuild my shop and house, purchase property, and rebrand our business in another location. While discussing our actual cost to relocate, NiSource responded, and I quote, "We just don't have the funds to do it within this project. The initial property value we were looking to offer you would have been between $800,000 and $900,000, unquote. The lowest quote I got to rebuild my shop was twice that without purchasing land. If I had accepted their offer, I would have had to borrow money to relocate my shop and I would be homeless. If we were going to relocate, it wouldn't make sense to go backwards financially. My shop is a climate-controlled, state-of-the-art piano rebuilding facility. It's not a barn. It's not a pole building. We have a national, international reputation that we've built over 50 years. We're recommended by businesses all over the U.S., including Christie's Auction House. That just happened last week. Relocating would necessitate building a new shop with the specifications of what we have now. We've poured all our resources into our property over the last 25 years. We transformed our home into a luxury home. Our home is unique in this geographical area with a 16-foot deep basement with a gymnasium. Our understanding earlier was that professional offices and buildings, like the dentist office next door on the corner, that was what we thought would be going in around us, and we welcomed that. We're not really too pleased about a giant industrial complex with things being stored outside, being all around us. With that in mind, with the thought in mind that professional offices would be going in over the last 25 years, we continued to make improvements to our property, believing that our business would be in the midst of an environment of professional businesses and offices next to us. Again, my property doesn't fit in the middle of a giant industrial complex. Our property is a landmark in the community, and it's our family's legacy. At NIPSCO's request, I submitted several estimates from reputable builders that I personally know. The estimates varied greatly. I would not expect NIPSCO to begin to pay the highest of those. I submitted to them the estimated cost to relocate it and received no response of further offers. I was very transparent and attempted to give the actual cost of what would be incurred in relocating my shop and home. Another point I want to make is that in my research and limited understanding of B3 zoning, I submit this. It says that outdoor storage in B3 districts is prohibited in most cases. General outdoor storage, defined as materials, equipment, and goods that are not actively displayed for sale, is not generally allowed in commercial districts. And then screening requirements. For storage areas that are visible from public right-of-way or adjacent properties, the Elkhart zoning ordinance requires 100% opaque visible barrier such as a fence wall or dense landscaping. And again, I'm concerned about the north side. Storage areas must be located behind or in front or corner side building facade. My understanding is that they're going to have a lot of items stored outside. That's a real concern of mine. I don't personally believe that this project fits in New Paris. That's the first thing people are going to see, especially if it's not well maintained. In conclusion, when I read the DPUD project report, it appears that this project will only be expanded in the future. My question is, where else could they expand other than my 4.5 acre property? I do not want to be put in the position where the possibility exists that an offer could be made for us for a fraction of the value of our real estate once the property has been devalued. In the previous commissioners' planning committee, several on the committee brought up the point that my property value would be devalued by this project being built next to my property. And my appeal to you is to protect my property value. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chubb. Any questions for him? No. Would the applicant like to speak on, well, I'm sorry, before we do that, there's somebody else who wants to speak. Sorry, I assumed too much. Come on forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Wayne Wingard, owner of Master Steel Roofing on 18951 County Road 142. So we'd be right across the road, I guess. I want to state that I have no problems with NIPSCO coming in there. I think it'd be good for the community, and especially if they're going to rebuild a conservancy, that's an awesome feature. I do have concerns about the traffic, though. I guess I would say on 142 and 23 and 15 there. They said they're going to put a stoplight in there, and the state was there a couple of years ago working on that intersection, and it's some of the accidents slowed down, but not very many of them. And we have traffic from 23 from the industrial parks to the south coming up through there. I think that area should be looked at a little bit more if there's anything that we could do there.
Just so you know, the state is putting a light there. And I
Right,
don't know if you heard the earlier bids where
Yes,
we weren't
yes.
even going to have a design until the end of 27.
Right. Okay.
So they take time.
And I appreciate that. So I appreciate that they're actually doing something. And I just wanted to state that those are my concerns there. And, you know, even I would like to see County Road 23 figured into the intersection, or at least what they do with the intersection, because 23, we see a lot of accidents. We're right on the corner there. So we see many accidents because there's only, I don't know, probably 200 feet between a stop sign and a stop light right there. So it's pretty bad intersection. So
Your concerns on the traffic are well noted, and we agree. And unfortunately, it's NDOT or the
right.
Indiana Department of Transportation that does that, and they're the ones that enhance the intersection to no avail. So, yeah, very good.
It'll
Thank
get
you.
better.
All right, that's all my statement.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else to speak in favor or against? Okay, do we want to close the public hearing?
No,
before-
no,
okay.
no.
So come on up and if you want to, yeah, that's fair.
So there was recent conversations just about the traffic, and that was definitely one of NIPSCO's biggest concerns related to this site early on. That intersection currently is a mess, especially with 55-mile-an-hour traffic. If you were thinking about putting several service trucks at that intersection trying to go north, it would not be good. And so when NDOT indicated that they were going to be putting a signal there, and they had actually already put the pavement improvements in, I believe those pavement improvements are there already, so they just have to come in and signalize. That was a significant driver on this site because now we have very easy access with signal controlled intersection. We moved everything to access on County Road 142. Some of the early plans, we had access off of State Road 15. We considered coming in off of County Road 121, and all of those, the state discouraged. They said, we're putting a light in. You need to go down to County Road 142. So you'll see the long drive coming off of Fernbrook Circle there, kind of snakes around and goes up to the parking lot. That's the reason for that is the NDOT really wanted us to have all of our access on County Road 142. Related to some of the concerns, sure.
interrupt you for just a
No
second.
problem.
So we talked about the signaling. When, if this gets approved, what hypothetically, when would this open?
Sure. So we would start construction, like to start construction first quarter of 2026. So that would be beginning of next year. It's about a 21-month build time. So we would anticipate, I believe there's an opening date that you're shooting for right around the end of September of 2027, which is kind of lines up right with when NDOT would have that light there.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So regarding kind of the configuration of the site, we did provide screening as required by the UDO, which addresses those concerns of light and noise and property values. We put it 12-foot tall because most of the outside storage is going to be that long black lines. Those are poles. So varying lengths, and NIPSCO does power, so they need to have an inventory of poles. So the 12-foot tall berm shields that.
So I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The berm is only on the west side that's 12 feet tall? Is that what you're saying, or all three berms?
Yeah, so the berm so it would be this plan south, but it's actually west, would be the 12-foot tall berm.
By the pole? That's
By the
west?
pole, yeah,
That's so
yeah.
true west?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the only one that's 12 feet tall? Are the ones on the north and the south less?
The one on the south is 6 foot tall. Yeah, but there's no open storage on that side.
And the one on
So
but does the one on the south also have
plantings.
green buffering?
Yeah.
What did you call it?
Landscape,
Landscaping,
basically
thank you.
your
I need another copy. Landscaping, yes.
Yeah.
And what about the buffer on the north side? That one concerns me a little bit. It looks kind of narrow.
Yeah.
And I think there as well, some landscaping would be helpful. Of course, I can redraw the map. What?
So it's a 2-foot berm with an 8-foot fence.
So there is landscaping there as well?
There is landscaping there. Yeah. So
How wide is that landscaping?
there's about 30 feet between the drive and the property line. And in that space, we have the security fence. Well, actually, we're not putting the security fence there. We're putting a berm, and then we're putting the opaque fence, and then we're putting the required landscaping. So your UDO has various options for us to select. And one of them is an opaque fence, a 15-foot wide buffer area, and green plantings in front of the fence. So what we're doing is we're expanding that to 25 feet, and we're going to put a little bit of a berm there, and then we're going to put an 8-foot tall screening on top of that. So that effectively raises the height. So now instead of a 6-foot tall height, we have a 10-foot tall height. And then still in front of that white fence, we're going to put landscaping and shrubs and
So the
stuff.
closest to Mr. Chubb's property would have the landscaping, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Sorry, I wrote my questions and I can't read them.
So on them berms, are you guys gonna maintain those berms, or are you gonna are they gonna be irrigated?
The site's not intended to be irrigated, but they are going to be planted. They're going to have landscape features on them, so they'll need to be maintained. All of that stuff is actually outside the fence. So initially, we had actually put the security fence around the perimeter of the site, and that would create, both to the public and also to our adjacent property owners, kind of a real industrial look. Site security would prefer that, because then everything they got to take care of is inside their fence. But hearing from the county, from the neighbors, we chose to put the berms on the outside of the fence and then have the fence adjacent to the parking areas and the drive areas. So that it creates more of a softer appeal, aesthetic for our neighbors, and also for the public. I mean, people coming down State Road 15, headed into New Paris, there's a slight curve right there. You're gonna be looking right at the main end, right at this main building as you come around that facility. That's why we put the parking there. This building is a tilt-up concrete building. It's a nice looking building. The barns, they're pole barns, but we've done decorative features on the front so that they don't appear to just be a straight up utility garage. And we want to be mindful that we're creating an aesthetic and an appearance to this corridor that is not industrial, but is a high quality business development.
So I'm perseverating, I apologize.
That's
Back to the landscaping and the berms. What I saw and what I'm hearing are not necessarily the same thing. In May, I'm wondering if we need to have a condition to get them to align. If somebody could help me with the wording when we get there. Um, Back to the pole storage and so the site plans that Mr. Chuck passed around have equipment.
Photos.
Yes, the photos that Mr. Chuck passed around, thank you, have equipment, not just trucks and those kinds of things, but other equipment as storage. I'm looking on here to see where those would be and how you're intending to keep up with the aesthetics that you're portraying to this board.
Yeah, for sure. So there's if I can go over there.
Yep.
Okay. So from the use perspective, this is the warehouse. So the south side, I'm going to call this south, even though it's west, just because it makes sense for our brains. The back side of the warehouse building is where the forklifts would go. And so they would be going to this area right here, which is where transformers, wire, various things that you would need for gas installations, all of that stuff is going to be housed in here. So these three larger pads are where the equipment will come and reside. And then the smaller pads, these are about 10 by or 20 by 40. Those will be areas where the work is staged. And so, it comes in bulk, and there'll be a lot of it that goes inside the warehouse. And then as it's staged for, okay, at the end of the week, this crew's gonna go out and do this crew's gonna go out and do that. They'll stage all that material on those concrete pads. And then when the truck comes in for the day for service, they'll come in underneath the canopy. So these are canopies on this side. So the electric will come in on this side, the gas will come in on this side. The guys will go out, pick up the stuff for the day and put it on the truck, and then the guys will leave. This area, so if they need to pick up a pole on their way out, they'll go into this area and they'll pick up a pole that needs to go up for the site. We also have a couple of things. So when you're putting a pole in the ground, you've got an excavation that typically happens, or you may need to backfill a gas installation. So there's areas in here where there's stone. So like these landscape bins that you see at landscapers where they've got the concrete blocks. Mm-hmm. Those are the types of things that we're putting here in here. So this would be at the end of the day. This is at the beginning of the day when you're loading it up. Yeah, so this berm, which sits right here, and this building and this fence right here, all screen all of this. And I think it's important to note too, if we were looking at an aerial, the house is right here. The barn, the pole barn that's used there is actually on the north side of his property and comes way into the back. So he really doesn't have sight lines to the north from his house. He has sight lines to the west and to the south. And on the south side, he's done a great job of landscaping and putting a lot of trees in that area. And so we're going to enhance that. So we didn't feel that as tall of a berm was required there, because if you're actually standing at his house, you can't even really see the dentist office through there currently. So, but we're going to meet the requirements of the zoning ordinance there. And then to the south, we're playing south, we're going to put that 12-foot tall berm. We do have sight lights. We've prepared a photometric plan, which shows that we have zero light spill on the perimeter of the property. All of these light fixtures have, they're dimmable, and they also have remote control. So like if somebody's not there, they can be turned off. They're not going to be 24/7 on. The only time that you're going to see lights in the evening would be if there's a storm response that NIPSCO needs to be addressing. And, you know, that's really kind of the purpose. We all want our power on, so NIPSCO needs to be able to get there and work. So we've tried really, really hard. And I want to make just, NIPSCO's gone, I feel, you know, being directed by them for some of the design elements. They've tried really, really hard to be a good neighbor and to do the things that they can do on this site to make their presence tolerable, you know, to somebody that is going to live next door.
What about the comments about future development? Because I believe Mr. Chupp is right. Based on these plans, one, you can't do what you're saying is future development because it's not here. And
Yeah, so
two, I don't see where there's room.
yeah, and I appreciate that question. And now I'm gonna not turn to Jason, but I was gonna say, confirming with Jason some of our conversation. When we started this process, one of the things that Jason really encouraged us was to think about all the types of things that you might want to do on this property, because it is a DPUD, and we wouldn't want you to come back and do an amendment at some point in the future. So there's no current plans to put solar on this property. There's no current plans to do any the wireless towers or any of that kind of thing. There probably will be one tower for communication with their trucks, but it'll be pretty short. I mean, we've got the airport pretty close, and so the FAA is going to have a pretty strong opinion on what those tower heights can be. But we needed to think, and I put that document together. I was like, what could we do? What could they possibly do at this site? And it was, so we listed a number of things, and a lot of that is going to be demonstration purposes. So they're not going to be putting a production solar field here.
But what I'm saying is,
Sure.
you can't put them here based on what you're submitting, not even without coming back.
No, but we could convert use. So we could say, okay, the fleet garage is going to go to another site, and so
Not without coming back, as far as I understand. You have to come back if you're changing this in any,
Sure.
okay.
Sure. Okay. And if you want to omit a lot of that stuff, we're perfectly fine with that, because of the stuff other than the use that we are currently showing here is
It doesn't exist as far as this board is concerned, just so you know, like, that's nice to have a future goal,
okay.
but because it's detailed, you can't do it unless
Okay.
you come back with a new amendment.
Sure. Yep.
Do I need to admit that in any motion? No, because our ordinance is what it is. Okay.
Yeah. And we're fine with that.
Okay.
We do show, and I'll note this, we do show future parking areas. So that would be primarily this area to the north, or to the between the Chubb's property and the fleet garage. We do show a future parking lot there.
And it's labeled, yes.
Yeah, it's labeled as future. We also do show, so off of the salmon colored building, the gas garage, there is a plan to double that at some point in the future. So those are,
If it's not the salmon colored as it is, you can't do it without an amendment.
well, that's why we put that in the document. We did show it in an outline on the plans, and then we did specify it, and that's in that square footage of the buildings.
So I'm sorry, so this, you're calling it a salmon, I've got a black and white copy, but
Sure.
You're saying that that garage as that full salmon is inclusive of the growth or non-inclusive of the growth?
It's not inclusive of the gross. So I
Hey,
mean,
Jason, can you help me? So I think he's saying that the salmon is current and the stuff below that, the gray, is where he would like it to grow.
Okay. The site plan has to reflect what's there, and what, if it shows what the future possible addition, then that's what they're held to.
So since it is not on the site plan, it's in the narrative, it cannot happen without an amendment. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Are we good?
To a point. So
Okay.
how site plans work in a DPD is if you change footprint up to 10%, that's approved administratively by staff. If it's more than 10% and under 20%, that comes to the plan commission as a major minor change request. And if it's over 20%, then it's a full-blown amendment.
So with a site this large, the 10 and 20%, is it per structure or is it whole site?
It's per structure.
Okay.
Structure footprint.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Did you follow my craziness?
So this site plan, yeah, go ahead.
So just on these garages, the two garages that are on site are specifically for some of the company vehicles that are being undercover so we can respond to emergencies and don't have to scrape snow, right? So I don't anticipate them growing. They're really, so we can get the few trucks out immediately, pull some more in, de-ice them, whatever we need. So I don't see it being a
So as far as I'm personally concerned, I think the garage would be more aesthetically pleasing than an open parking lot. But I just want you to know, you can't just build it without coming back for an amendment. Any changes, right?
Agree.
Including demonstration of
Yes.
wind and solar. Okay.
Yep, agree. And can I address, our aesthetics currently at our facility? So I've been in the role probably for almost 5 years now, and my goal was to make that change, right? And this is part of that. We have now standardized our building designs. Our site designs are more aesthetic, with providing, proper laydown areas and so forth. So we're doing this in all of our states that we operate out of. So we really want to improve the way we look in our branding as well. So I just want to share that.
I got one comment to make and maybe a question too. So your future expansion on the south side of that property, where it says future parking lot, that's gonna be truck parking, correct?
Yeah, so that area would be, it's specifically for storm event parking.
Okay.
So when there's a storm event, we might bring in another 100 vehicles for an emergency response, and so we need a place for them to park instead of like, on the street or something. So that area would be for that.
My second question is then, with every one of these commercial vehicles and equipment always has a beeper. They're beeping.
Yeah.
So if you got 100 trucks in there, I'm really concerned about the height of the berm and the buffering on the south side of Mr. Chupp's property.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Would you,
And you're only gonna go, that buffering on that side of the property, is that gonna be uniform with the west side of the property?
well, there's a little bit of a break because we need to be able to get stormwater from
Yeah.
his site. And, because currently his site's a little bit higher, so the sheet flows off. So we've made accommodations for stormwater to still follow those natural paths. We put a 6-foot tall berm, which is actually like a 65-foot footprint. And then we're putting
Can you use the mic?
evergreens.
Use the mic, please.
I'm sorry. We're putting a 6-foot tall berm there on that particular side, and then putting the landscape, basically evergreens across the top of it. We can make some accommodations. That's actually right in that area. Right in that rectangle there.
Mhm.
That's where our well will be.
Um,
So, we're not going to be putting parking in that area. If we need to make some accommodations, at your recommendation for a little bit taller berm along that side.
I'm just
we can
concerned
do that.
about sound,
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that Tanya mentioned when she was talking very early on was that all of NIPSCO, from a traffic safety perspective, requires everybody to pull through a site. It's a little unusual, so there's not really going to be a whole lot of backing up on this site. You'll hear backing up to pick up a trailer,
Right.
but that that trailer, picking up a trailer is actually behind the 12-foot tall berm. So you'll see that line of, just gray, right?
I see it.
Those are the trailers
Okay.
parked in that area. So they'll back up there and pull out. Hopefully they're all ready to go for the day. So.
Okay.
Can you speak a little bit about if there is buffering along State Road 15? It's kind of the green area. Is that buffering or is that
Yes.
drainage or what is that?
Yeah. So we are intending to put a 4-foot tall berm along the front. And so we are about 100 feet off of County Road or State Road 15. In that area, we're going to be putting in a 4-foot tall berm. It won't be quite as steep. So like a maximum for a berm would be a 3-to-1 slope, or you think those are going to be more closer to 4-to-1. So it'll be a little bit more landscapey in, in appearance, aesthetic. But yeah, a berm along there. We have landscaping at the corner, and then in front of the Fleet Building, that 6-foot tall berm that was on the north side by Chuck, that's going to actually wrap around, and it'll be 6 foot tall all the way. We're going to stop a little bit short of the dentist when our conversations with the dentist there. I believe was in front of you just recently for an expansion of his own. He wanted to make sure that sight lines were kept for him for the sign, for his signage and for his flagpole. So we held that berm back off of that corner a little bit so that we were respecting that.
And I got another question for the young lady. Tanya?
Yeah, Tanya.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I drove by your Kircher Road, Nebsco.
Mm-hmm.
That place is atrocious. I wouldn't want you being my neighbor. Pallet racks with, and then all the plastic and shrink wrap and all packaging was just up against the fence. And it was kind of unsightly, to be honest with you. And I figured with as much work that you guys accomplish and do in this area, that you would probably take a little bit more pride in upkeeping your grounds, your building and your grounds. So what guarantees do we have as a community that you guys are going to take care of this place better than you are the Kircher Road?
That has been my goal since I started here, and it is of our executive leadership team. So I've put together, I'll share a plan, a 10-year plan to improve our sites across our footprint to make that better. We need to work more efficiently, first and foremost, and when it's a mess, it's hard to work, and our workflows are not efficient. So yeah, our goal is to continue to do this. So I not only handle the real estate, but I also handle the facility maintenance across our footprint. So we are working to improve that and across everywhere. So yeah, and the landscaping. So my team will also take care of that.
Okay, thank you.
I have no more questions.
I don't have any more questions either.
Anything else, Jack?
I'm good. Thank you very much for your time and your consideration.
Mr. Chubb, did you have anything else to respond to? We're allowing rebuttals and so on and so forth in this public hearing, so the public hearing's still open.
I still don't know what guarantees we have that it will look any different. I mean, it's nice to say that. I'm sure she's trying to do her job, and I'm sure she does it very well. But it's like I said, as long as I remember, and I've lived here all my life, that's not been a pretty property. If this is approved, and I hope it's not, I certainly would like to be able to put my input in with what surrounds me as far as berms and irrigation, and I'd like to hire my own landscaper if this goes through. I'm hoping it doesn't.
Mr. Chubb, I would love your recommendations though now, because again, like I told them, what's in their plan is in their plan. So if you want to speak up now, this would be a
Well,
great.
I want berms surrounding my property with, and I want to be able to have input on the vegetation and the trees. And I want a good sized berm, not just a little one,
What's a good size berm? Help me.
9 to 12 feet.
In height?
Yeah, and I have already consulted Linton's that did my landscaping, and you know he would help me come up with a plan. I'm not a landscaper.
Right, but it's also not your property to.
I understand, but it has to look right.
Yeah.
And it would certainly have to be irrigated, or it would look like the trees on the north side of County Road 38 in one of those properties where it's just dead. We just, berms without irrigation, the vegetation dies. I know that from experience. So, if I'm stuck there with this around me, number one, I hope that it will be a maintained, groomed property. I don't have a lot of hope for that. If it is, then the berms around me need to be substantial. They need to have nice landscaping, and they need to be irrigated. And he's already addressed the concerns we have about drainage. So
I don't know that we've ever required irrigation, have we? Yeah, it's nothing that we've ever done on.
then it will just die.
They haven't died everywhere in the county. I mean,
Go down 15 and look at
look
at Brock's. Those are irrigated properties. Those are irrigated berms. That's a nice looking property.
but it's not been a requirement of ours. That's all I'm saying, right?
Okay, then it will look trashy in a short time.
Any other questions or comments on, I'll entertain, did you want to? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. So it's back to the commissioners here for discussion and or a vote.
I'm inclined to approve this with clarification. And I'm going to need help from staff specifically to translate what was said versus what's in the drawings, because I don't see what I heard him say either. So I want to make sure that that buffering is wider and taller as discussed. I'm grateful that you have already started proposing direct impacts for the New Paris Conservancy that will save residents all around additional dollars. And the other thing that is special about this project, should this go through, is the investment would generate well over $1 million a year in a TIF district. There are several projects that could be helpful for New Paris specifically, as well as countywide, including sidewalks to the elementary school, gateway improvements, local road redevelopment in New Paris. Without this project, there are no funds for it. So this is definitely a project that serves the greater community. I do believe one of the issues that is consistent throughout all the conversations, and yes, Mr. Chubb has a beautiful property. He has taken great pains to make it wonderful. The property is not used as a residential only property. It is used as a business property. And so as this development, should the motion I will eventually make when I stop talking, go through, I believe his property values will be consistent with a commercial development as opposed to a residential, which then would be greater. I think this is consistent with growth and consistent with the recommendations of the ordinance that we have on zoning. So I would like to make a motion to approve, but I don't know how to state the conditions that I want to make sure that the buffers and landscaping are appropriate based on the aesthetic versus the narrative.
There's buffering around the entirety of the residential property that's adjacent to this, including a berm with tree plantings. I just want to bring to your attention on the furthest west side of the property where there's storage that's adjacent to what's currently an ag field. That is a 6-foot tall security fence with 2-foot kind of like shrubbery planting at the base. So just for your awareness, on the west side and also a portion of the north side of the property, that's proposed buffering. So
the proposal on the narrative is 6 feet with a 2 feet.
6-foot fence.
6-foot fence with 2-foot landscaping, and clearly that is not sufficient. It's not consistent with what he said.
8 foot.
If I can clarify with you.
Yes, because this will be the condition, so please.
I see where your confusion is. So,
To the mic.
so we submitted the narrative for the county's approval in July, I believe was when that went in. And subsequent to that submittal, we had specific conversations with Mr. Chupp about the screening matters, and where we thought it was left and we had agreed upon and were agreeable to was that discussion of the 2-foot tall berm in the 8-foot tall opaque fence.
So-
On that north side. So we're willing to go above what we said in the narrative.
Can you give me a number so I can write it down and make it a condition, please?
Just to be clear, so we got two issues. We got buffering around and berms around the entire property. And then we're talking about the buffering and berms around the Chuck property.
And I believe the buffering around the entire property, everybody is okay with, as far as being 100
Staff's
feet off the road.
recommendations,
And
yes.
Okay, so we're good with the around the
specifically around
around-
the Chuck property and the dental property, to make sure that
Okay.
those are consistent with what he's described.
okay.
They're
They're consistent with what he's describing.
6 feet or 8 feet?
So Jack, help me out. So on the west side of the Chuck property,
Okay.
that berm is supposed to be
We are proposing it to be 12 foot. In our narrative, I believe at that point in time,
Yeah,
we
it's
said
less.
8,
Yes.
but we increased it to 12.
and then
The ordinance is 6.
Okay.
So I understand. I'm confusing, I'm sorry.
and then the fence on top of the 12-foot berm,
No fence there.
no fence.
No fence there.
Okay,
No fence on the west side, just the, what?
just the berm on the west side of the Chuck property.
For screening. If I can just make that clear. There, on our side of that 12-foot tall berm, there will be a 6-foot tall security fence, but that is not included in the
Gotcha.
screening, and it is 100 feet.
And then you're gonna keep the ordinance on the 6-foot height of the fence, the opaque fence on the west side.
So
There's
that's
no
actually
fence.
around.
There's no fence, there's no opaque fence on the west side.
That is
It's
So
on
you
the north
understand?
side. It's on the north side.
Thank you.
It's on the north side and then the south side, right?
not on the south side. We have the 6-foot tall berm on the south side and the plantings that are required. We're following the ordinance on that screening.
So let me ask you this. So on these berms where you're gonna put the opaque fence, it's only on the north side. It's gonna be an 8-foot opaque privacy fence, basically, with setting on top of a 2-foot berm. So it's gonna give you 10 foot of.
That is what we said, yes.
Okay, and then on the back, it's just gonna be a mound with
It'd be a
what?
12-foot tall mound, and then Mr. Chupp requested that there be plantings on that. So our request was not to put plantings on that, and he requested that we put plantings on that, and we agreed. We said we would do that.
So plantings will be on,
West side?
Be on the west side, on top of the 12-foot tall berm. And I know this is laborious, but we want to get it correct, because we want your expectations to be in line with what we want to do.
Well, we as a board would kind of expect you to be above expectations and be a good neighbor.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to be a good neighbor.
We absolutely do. And from a construction standpoint, these berms are going to be probably one of the very first things that gets installed. And so, we have a 2-year construction period, which we talked about. We want to be a good neighbor right off the bat. So those berms are going to get put in very quickly.
Can you get the vegetation planted?
We're going to try, we're going to, if we can get those berms built, mass excavation should start in March and April. We should be able to get some seeding down on those berms this spring yet. It's not necessarily the best time of the year, but it's better than July.
I got you.
I want a berm on the north side with plantings. And I'm still trying to figure out if there is or not. I'm
Okay,
so
so
sorry.
there's a 2-foot berm
Yes.
with an 8-foot opaque fence.
Yes, but no landscaping per his request.
Oh, he's
No,
gonna
no, there is landscaping there.
That's what I was missing. We kept switching. I'm
Yes, no,
sorry.
there is landscaping there.
be on the
As I
south side of
earlier,
the
I need more
fence.
coffee today.
It'll be on the south side of the fence,
Yes. That's where I was
facing
that's
Shelf's
where I was-
property.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you need further?
Yes.
No, I beat the dead horse, I think. But I have the 8-foot.
I have another point of order.
Oh,
Okay.
geez. Okay.
On the west property line, which, looking at this, would be the south,
Mhm.
the bottom, they're calling for their security fencing, which is not opaque, it's security, and a 2-foot berm with some plantings, correct?
Well,
Just a 2.
They said a 12-foot berm.
All the way at the bottom.
No, we're talking the south property line, not around Chubb,
Oh,
the
yeah.
south
Oh.
property
I'm not
line.
worried about that.
If you care, just right here.
Actually,
Want to make sure you guys know.
Um,
Right here,
The west side of the property.
bottom of the screen, all the way at the bottom. It's just a security fence, 2 foot of shrubbery.
Yeah.
Just so you're clear. Otherwise, everything is consistent.
You got something to say?
Yeah. So just so we're clear on that, and I apologize for this. This is as plan preparation. I'm learning my lesson never to rotate the drawing because this is super confusing. So plan south, which would be the west, which would be facing the Brookins Farm. It's an agricultural use. We don't need to screen that according to your zoning code. And so we are not providing any screening along there. We are putting our 6-foot tall fence, and we have applied to use the county's, we're doing the field border plantings along there. So we have a 30-foot strip along there that we're going to put that in there in cooperation. I've been working with the SCS department. So that's the screening on the far west side of the property. The west side of Mr. Chubb, we get back to the conversation about the berm.
Right.
We didn't close the public hearing.
This public hearing is closed.
Yes. All right, so the official motion for approval with specific conditions around, I don't know if I named the property here or Mr. Chubb's property, is that you can insert address. On the north side of his property, there will be an 8-foot fence upon a 2-foot berm with landscaping. On the west side of Mr. Chubb's property, directly on his side, not all the way to the bottom of the drawing, will be a 12-foot berm with a screened fence and landscaping. And on this,
No fence.
no fence. And on the south side is as code, as required. So I didn't have
Okay,
to.
so those aren't new conditions because that's already in there.
This is different than what's in the narrative, though. I just wanted to clarify, make sure that it has to be that tall.
All right, so we have a motion to approve with those conditions.
I'll second that.
So we have a second, and we'll need a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Barnes,
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers,
No.
Commissioner Wiley.
Yes.
And motion passes 2-1.
Mr. Barron.
Number 4, weights and measures report from September 16th through October 15th.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Any board items? Seeing none. Any privilege of the floor? I don't see any.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.